Welcome back to Abrar Knowledge channel. Today we are going to do very important test or exam on Lean Six Sigma, and Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. We are going to do it. There are 100 questions we are going to solve together, right? And so this is the same link. I will keep it in the description also as well. And it's a free test you will be able to take, and this is from the Simplilearn and under the quality management system, and you have free practice tests. There are 4 tests, and one test we have already done on Minitab in the previous video. Now we are going to do the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, and future video will be doing it Black Belt, and also we are going to do it Lean Management also as well. So let's get started with Lean Six Sigma Green Belt practice test. And I'll keep this description, both the parent link, that is overall quality management. There are 4 free practice. Also, I will going to keep this link also as well. And this is specific to Lean Six Sigma Green Belt preparations free practice test. So this link also I will keep it in the description. So all you have to do is, this is a instructions given. Take the free practice test, and multiple times we can attempt 180 minutes. That means we have to solve within 3 hours. Let's see how fast we can go. And this is going to be 100 questions, multiple choice question. You can pass and take any time and all that, right? So I'm going to key in my email ID, and let's have the purpose of this one. Why are you taking this practice test? I will say self learning and knowledge validation, right? We're going to start. Here we go. The first question: what is the key benefit of multivariant? The key benefit of multivariant is it assists that in the breakdown of component of variation. Multivariations mean where the variation is. Let's say you have a 2-3 component and you wanted to see that multivary, and multivary chart help to identify what is the component level you have the variations, right? What are the segments you have, right? And anything, let's say you have 3 cities ABC, and you wanted to know how these 3 cities in terms of sales it has been performing, then you can do multivariate. So it can is assist the breakdown of component of variation. Let's go to the next question. Second question. Let me just make it slightly bigger. Even slightly bigger. Okay. So let's go to the first question. The first questions we have solved, and let's go to the next one. And when deciding to collect the sample from a population is always actually it is a economical decision, because it has a risk for 5% of risk, and it's a the economical decisions. And the third one is Six Sigma project had a lot of improvement measurements suggested on training people, setting the standardized job instruction, getting the surveys done from the employees, and so on. Who would be the focus audience for whom this project was aimed at, right? So the answer is internal customer, because it is more of a process improvement, right? We're not talking about the external customer, we're not talking about stakeholder. So the right answer could be internal customer. Let's go to the fourth one. And the fourth one, the cause and effect diagram when used with 5Y helps you in understanding the root cause of the problem. In doing so, what does the Six Sigma team wish to know? The assignable cause. So we have 2 causes. One is called common cause. One is called the common cause and a special cause. Special cause is also assignable cause. We need to find out why that outlier happened, why there is a variation, and how to curb that variation, how to reduce a standard deviation. So the main purpose with respect to Six Sigma is assignable cause. Let's go to the fifth one. Which of the below mentioned tool is considered best inform employees of their work role in terms of ease of understanding and ease of implementations and all that, right? So job description is high level. Process flow is also quite helpful, and a standardized template and return instructions, everything will really helpful. And in embracing Six Sigma, what has been in principle motivating factor from the point of view of upper management, right? So at the end of that, any project you do, the bottom line is bottom line result, right? The purpose of roll through yield, RTY, right? In Six Sigma would not be. So this is a question is would not be. So what be the user calculation for customer analysis? Because actually RTY is more of internal, right? So this is the answer. And next question is, a company making rubber tires in evaluating 5 opportunities per product, 1,000 product in manufacturing in a month. If 100 defects are observed, what is a rule through yield, right? So rule through yield, you can say like 5 opportunity and 1,000 product and 100 defects. So I will take the calculator, and in which we can do it much easy. Let me take the calculator and let me go to the first one. Okay, here the question is, company has, this is a defective, right? So in defective we have in V2, okay, and 5 opportunity, 1,000 product, 5 opportunity and 1,000 product, and 100 defects. Okay. So this is, we are talking about defect. So defect is 100 defects, okay, and sample is 1,000, sample is 1,000, and then opportunity for error is 5, right? So what the question is, what is the rule through yield, right? So we can do it multiple ways. If it is 20,000 DPMO, we can find out, or we can find out anything, right? So we need to find out the percentage, right? So go to that first page. So here what we need is that yield, right? If it is yield is 98 percentage, that means DPMO is 20,000, right? So and sigma is 3.55, exactly the same value we have got, right? So that means 98 percentage is the right answer. Okay, then let's go to the next question. What is lean philosophy? Lean philosophy, you all know that provide the perfect value to customer through the through a perfect value creation process that has zero waste. So that is something Muda, and zero waste, that 7 Muda, that you already know, and then perfect value creation for a process that we can also remember that value stream mapping. And let's go to the next 10th question. And when samples are drawn out of population randomly, what is said to be true? Very important question. The sampling distribution approach normality with increase in sample. So the more you increase this sample, and the normality will become. For example, let's say you have only 2 sample like this, and then it, like later you're taking 5 sample, slightly better, and let further you're taking 25 samples, right? And it gets better and better. So this is the answer. Let's go to the 11th question. 11th question is, which of the following tools is most commonly used in define phase? You all know in define phase we can use affinity diagram or project charter, because it has problem descriptions, everything we can put it. And let's go to the 12th question. Which of these considered a technique to collect the data or comments from the customer, right? So this is something called focus group. In the 7 new QC tools, I have already covered in this in the past. Let's go to the 13th question. 13th question is, which of the following cannot be considered as an acceptable reason for deploying Six Sigma, right? So the answer could be like improve the design, because improve the design is a very generic one, right? And let's go to the 14th question. Some square of error is equal to So the sum of error due to pure error and then lack of fit, right? Let's go to the 15th one, and the p-value for mode medians test is 0.02. That means 2%, and the level of significance is set as 0.05%, right? What decision is made? Reject the null hypothesis, because lower the p-value, they reject. There is a very important point to remember, and if the p-value is low, no, the null hypothesis will go away. That means if the p-value is low, we have to reject the null hypothesis. Let's go to the 16th one. What type of waste would be the following scenario potentially cause a clothing manufacturing is produce more items than what the customer has ordered, right? Overproduction, basically more than the customer demand is overproduction, right? And then you have the 17th question. Which of the following variation are identified in control chart? So in control chart, both in the normal, it is also called inherent cause, and a special cause that is called assignable cause. Both we can easily find it out. 18th question. Which of the following tools helps in visualizing series of a cause to an effect? Right. This is very easy question. Ishikawa or fishbone diagram. And let's go to the 19th one. And which of the following statistical tests should be used by Greenbelt for testing the means between the two interrelated group? Let's say we are talking about two group, right? One, maybe we're talking about cricketer and all that. For in anything, the two same means, right? Testing the means of the two group. That means the paired t-test is more powerful than two sample t-tests, right? So paired t-test is the right answer. And standard deviation in Six Sigma application referred this one as mostly it goes with the mean, right? In the middle you get mean. And then 21st question, and here we go. In a typical design for Six Sigma approach, which of these stages figure out in most design for Six Sigma approaches? Then you have identify, right? And the 22nd question, and which of the following pairs is the most useful in preparing the control chart when used together for variable data? And so this is, we are talking about control chart, we are talking about the pair, and we are also talking about the variable data, of course. X bar R chart we can choose. And let's go to the 23rd question. And which of the following activities is not value added? Setup, pre-work, inspection, all of these is non-value added, and which is not non-value added. So sorry, the question is non-value added. Which of the following activities not non-value added? So this is non-value added, this is non-value added, this is non-value added, this is not non-value added. So process is always is not non-value added, right? So 24th question, repetition helps in Six Sigma teams in determining. So when you do repetition, you will get to know the short-term variability. Identify the most accurate method for quantifying gauge repeatability and reproducibility. So why we do gauge reproducibility is, so one of the method we can use is ANOVA, right? So even in you go to that the gauge repeatability and reproducibility, you will get two things. Whether you wanted to do it in the X bar R chart or whether you wanted to do it in ANOVA. ANOVA is the right answer. Let's go to the 26th one. Which of these tools technique represent the continuous improvement, right? So Kaizen. And the 27th question, a Six Sigma project can reduce what? Total failure costs. 28th one, why would Six Sigma activities prompt a reanalysis of measurement system? Why? Because the variability have to be reduced. We'll get the precise answer. And let's go 29. Japanese 5S methodology is used, creating the work productivity work environment, right? We can just reduce that whatever the non-value added, right? It is also housekeeping. 30th question. What does OEE stand for? OE stand for, many people get confused. OE stand for overall equipment effectiveness, not efficiency, effectiveness. So we have solved 30 questions. Let's go further. 31st one. The house of quality is used to translate the customer wants into engineering design variable. The linking or prioritization of customer wants into engineered value occurred in which of the following elements? Relationship one, right? So you can put it like customer one and then product spec design, and then you can cross multiply. So it's a relationship matrix. So let's go to the 32nd question. What is the name of the condition if you're running 7-4 fractional? This is on the DOE fractional experiment. You know the factor A, B, C, D, and E are independent to each other, but you suspect that factor F and G are not independent. You conducted a small sub experiment and discovered high correlation between factor G and F and G, right? So what you need to do is you need to do collinearity so that you can get it more precise idea, because confounded, again, this is already, it seems to be confounded. Correlation and covariance, it is not helpful. Collinearity you can do. Which of the modern computer program can perform an analysis of experimental residual? Which of the following technique will not be employed, right? Control chart. And let's go to the 34th question. If an experiment has an alias in the DOE, you could say that two-factor effects are confounded, right? For example, A and B. AB is there, let's say AC is there. That means A is confounded, right? This is part of the design of experiment. Let's go to 31st one. What type of variation does the process have if it is in control? That means it will have only the normal cause, also called inherent cause, also called random cause. 36th one. For 4-factor and 3 level, the DOE setup has 32 runs, right? And 4, okay. What type of experiment is being conducted? That means half factorial. And let's go to 37. Which of the following technique used in DOE helps you in identifying pure error? Right? Replication is one of the powerful one. And let's go to 38. A combined calculation of repeatability reproducibility using the average and range method produces a ratio of 7.42 of process tolerance. What can be stated about 7.42 value? Right? So that means, so since this is less than 10%, we can say that, the measurement system is acceptable. So generally the range is 10 to 30, right? If it is less than 10, we can accept. Between 11 to 20, we have to conditional approve. Greater than 30, we should not approve, right? 39th question I'm solving. In a single factor ANOVA, what the assumption of homogeneity of variance applies to what? That means the variance within the treatment groups. 40th question, interesting one. A perfect regression model with all points fitted with the regression line has sum square of error of what? Equal to 0. This is very interesting. Equal to 0, that means it's a good, you'll get good R square value and all that. If you check the linearity test, normality test, yeah. Okay, 41st question. A QFD template allows the Six Sigma team to learn which of the following, right? So the most important customer requirement, the performance of a company versus competitor, the core area of focus for efforts, all the above. And what are the 6 experiments called while performing one experiment with 4 repetitions, right? That's called replications. If men having high blood sugar problem are diagnosed with the diabetes, with the mean blood sugar level to be at 120, The standard deviation is 9. Any individual having greater than 100 blood sugar level can be diagnosed with diabetes. What is the probability of committing the type number 2 error? So this is on the probability one. I have already solved that question. 120 is one I have already solved. So that means there is a probability of 1.39 percentage. So a Six Sigma green belt practitioner construct a control chart to display a process mean and its outlier. In such chart, what does UCL? Very simple. UCL stand for upper control limit, not upper control specification. This is limit. 45th question. To optimize the response of a process, ideally, what sequence of experimentation should one do? So to do that, when you say optimize and all that, in the Minitab, maybe I'll open up the Minitab. In the Minitab, there is something called response one. You can easily do that. Let me open the Minitab. I will quickly show you. First, we have to do a planning and all that in DOE, right? In the past video, I have already covered. And once the plan is there, everything you have done already, that you find out the center point, blocking and all that. Then the best thing what you can do is you can just in the DOE, you can find out once you do, for example, once you do all the factorize and all that, the last, once you create the design and all that, you can do a response optimizer, right? So the right answer is this one. First, you do a screening, then response surface technique. Which of the following terms describe the situation in which the effect of two factors are correlated while designing experiment, right? So the collinear. And then 47th question, what is the process capability for attribute data? For attribute data, so it is defined as average proportion of because you're talking about attribute data, you're talking about non-conforming product. And organization finds that's an extra measure of security added to online transactions didn't reduce the incidence of identity theft. What is the concept of management referred to? So here we call them as non-value added or no value added. Which of the following statement are not true of control chart? The providing straightforward easy interpretation. No, it is sometime you also have to look keenly on the very important common cause that is very difficult to find, and control also as well. Rule through yield best indicates what is indicates the time and effort spent on rework and scrap. 51st question. For a full factorial experiment with 23 treatments and 0 replicates, how many runs you would expect? You would expect that 23 design and 0 is the replicates. 23 plus 0 is 23. And very simple question, isn't it? So the next question is, what setup basic quality tools what set of basic quality tools would be the most applicable for a work team to use when there is a desire to follow procedure and work instructions are closely? So all you have to do is you have to create a checklist, flow chart and checklist. This is powerful. And then you have hypothesis tests, and enumerative statistic would not involve which of the following distribution? You can do chi-square, binomial, Poisson. You cannot do students t-test. Which of one of the purposes of using fishbone diagram This is a very easy questions, and all you have to do is separate a problem into a smaller problem, and then you can further go on do it in the Ishikawa as such. Which of the following control chart would best fit a process in which measurement data on a product is easily obtained? X bar R chart, because you will get to know the within variation which is individual, and now you will also will get to know everything. So run chart, no, it's not a control chart. Median chart will not be helpful. P chart is hypothesis. The right answer is X bar R chart. Simple question. And then you have 56th question. With which of the following distribution is the term degree of freedom inapplicable? Right, this is also little tricky question. So degree of freedom is not there in the Poisson distributions, right? What determines the factor that will receive major attention after constructing a rank order prioritization matrix? And the answer is the relative strength value of the factor. Which of the following is an example of primary metric for Six Sigma project? Quality, right? Because the quality is a big term in which most of the other subtopics you can easily cover, or metric you can cover. What skill and experiences do project improvement team member normally have? Diverse skill, this is very highly suggested, diverse skills and experience. What type of variation is undesirable when trying to control a process? Special cause. An engineer is considering a fractional factorial instead of full factorial to analyze a process because of this large number of variables under study, because you can't do one stretch, right? Apart from possibility of studying a large number of factors with a relative few experiment, what other characteristic will support a decision to use a fractional factorial instead? So the process is well known and only the main factors of a concern, then you can do this one. The difference between a strategic quality goals and the strategic business plan is that the strategic quality goals are often lower tier than the strategic business plan. Identify the post improvement tool which would be most beneficial when generating fresh ideas after the result of an improvement process have been disappointing. Basically, you'll do brainstorming session, right? And 64th the question. Which of the following error typically associate with the notion false negative? This is also we have covered in the past. Type 2. When the data has outlier, which of the measure of central tendency or the robust central tendency should be used? Median. It's a powerful one. What type of ways an accountant going to first floor to pick up a document from printer? So that is motion. So you remember that when you're talking about the difference between motion, there are 7 wastages, right? Transportation, and we are talking about transportation, inventory, motion, and then team wood, waiting time, overproduction, overprocessing, defect, right? One, transportation is all about vehicle, non-people, and all that, and motion is all about the human people, right? So here we're talking about accountant. Is motion is a people, right? 67th question. What is the best choice in the hand of Six Sigma team to increase the power of experiment? So all you have to do is increase the sample size, right? 68th question. Which of the hypothesis tests is similar to one sample t-test but is used when the data is not normal? We have also covered this also as well. One sample sign you can do. Which approach talks about the equipment effectiveness? This is an easy question. Total productive maintenance. What is a more appropriate definition for non-value added? Any activity that does not add any value to the product or service or process. The best metric for measuring the defectives is what? ppm, parts per million. And dpmo, defect, this is for defect, we are talking about defective. dpu, this also unit per unit, and this is the right answer. If the measure stage in a DMAT approach is all about measuring the data for existing process, what is the main objective in the measure phase in the design for Six Sigma approach? Set the key measurement steps and metric. 73rd one, all the factors that might contribute to a production problem must be discovered. Which among the following problem solving technique might be the best choice? Think about it. It's all about the fishbone diagram, right? This is also a questions to solve. 1000 unit of a product were examined with the possibility 5 different undesirable characteristics. A total 80 defects were found. And how many defects would you be expected in a million opportunity? That means defect per million opportunity. Unit. Okay, so let's do it this one. 1000 units. Okay, and out of 1000 unit, how many defects? 80 defects. Okay. And what is the opportunity? 5 different opportunity. Okay. And here you have an answer. 16,000. So 16,000 is answer. And let's go to the 75th one. On a highly automated food processing line, and a quality professional want to chart the weight of a package. The recommended control chart is X bar, S chart, not a typical X bar R chart. In wide use of throughout the facility. Which of the following is the most logical reason for this switch, right? From the X bar R chart to X bar S chart. Because X bar S chart will come automatically with the weight checker. The X bar control limits will be higher. The supervisor obviously wants some variability in the control chart, and only one control chart will be used. No, so X bar actually will use automatically the weight checker. The variable control chart subgroup size are generally 3, 4, 5, 6 for all of the following reasons except what? The fit onto tradition chart paper very well. Which of the following measures central tendency is preferred when the data does not have an outlier? When the data does not have an outlier, then we can use mean, no problem. And then you have 78th question. And Poka Yoke is as a lean manufacturing concept, and that is used. What is the purpose? Poka Yoke, you all know, is a mistake proofing. And we're going to 79th one. Which of the following assumption is necessary to validate the meaning of the standard deviation of measurement variability? So the question is, measurement error are independent or measurement scale is normally distributed? Measurement error are independent of the operators involved in the study. Measurement error are skewed in the direction of the normality. So which is the one? So it's independent. For many people, changing a single tire can easily take 15 minutes. But NASCAR, I have already put this in the video. NASCAR pit crew changing 4 tires takes less than 15 seconds. This represent good use of what tool? We have already talked about it. Single minute exchange of die. And then you have the 81st question. In a study of probability, an event or an outcome that cannot be broken down any further referred to as in simple event. And as a green belt, what should a trainee do when he faces a problem during his project? Quantify the problem and consult the black belt. And 83rd one, which of these distribution can use to make the interferences about population variance, right? In population variance, you can do chi-square when you have a discrete data, because we are talking about discrete data. Which of the following is the least likely tool to assess the problem defining stage of Six Sigma? Six Sigma does not come in control chart of the define phase. But these are all we can use it. And this also we have to solve for a process working at 5 sigma. How many opportunity are considered to lie outside the spec provided by the customer? If it is 5 sigma, we all know 233. If it is 6 sigma, it is 3.4, and further goes like 4 and all that, it becomes higher. So the answer is here also as well. So we are talking about 5 sigma 233. Let's say it's a 4 sigma 6000, 3 sigma 66,000. In a typical measure phase, which of the following activities should a green belt perform first, right? And anytime, so when you do a measure phase, the first is you can just check the measurement system analysis, whether the variability is there or not. In a typical gauge MSA, measurement system analysis, gauge RNR, repeatability, reproducibility, study conducted, what should the Six Sigma team determines about the measurement system first? Resolutions. The next question, which of the following scenario is best suited to use an X-bar R chart? A smaller sample size is needed. That's a very, very important and very advantage of having this one. Or it is necessary to know when the investigate a process for cause for variation. Any assignable cause is this is the main purpose. And if 6 consecutive samples were taken from a process precisely measured, you can still expect differences. What type of variation we are talking about, right? Lot to lot variation. We have come to 90th question. What is the one basic assumption of null hypothesis? The variables are independent. As an experienced experimenter, you have built a predictive model of experimental data. The difference between the actual response data and the model is, what is that called? It's called residual. So when you do 4 residual, you will get to know. And in the theory of control chart, the distribution of a number of defect. When you say number of defect, what top we're talking about? We're talking about Poisson distribution. If it is defective, we're talking about binomial. If it is both, and if it continuous data, normal distribution. What type of waste is purchasing and storing office supply, sales, literatures, and so on? That is called inventory. All these are inventory costs. And for a Six Sigma project done in the operation department, LOB project, which of the following could be called as stakeholder to the project? IT, administrative, human, we can use it for all. Which item should not be identified in the define phase? Root causes. So define phase, we should not tell the root causes, we should only tell the problem. Why we should not tell it? 96 to 1. And distribution that follows a principle for exponential distribution is Poisson distribution. While considering the stakeholder group, which of the following terms is closely identified with the term community society? Poka-yoke is best defined as what? Preventing controllable defect. 99 to 1. Which of the following is not necessary for the Six Sigma team to update in the project charter in the define phase? Right? And in the project name and description is required, business need is required, project purpose is required, constraint we don't need to put it. The last and very final question, which of the following distribution describe the ratio of two variants are drawn from the sample normal population that you can do F test, F statistic. So we have done successfully. Let's see the score. Wow, we have got 101. All the 100 is the absolutely right one. And we have got 100 marks. And thank you so much for all your support. And I will keep this link in the description. You can just have a practice as such. Let's see that the view explanation. When you have a click it, it also gives that explanation that I just added from my side, and you can also have these explanations. You can also try multiple times. I will keep this link in the description so that you can very well take advantage of all of these 100 questions. And these questions are very, very helpful to understand Lean Six Sigma better. Thank you so much. Please do like, share, subscribe my channel. You have a wonderful day ahead.